All right, welcome back. Today we are diving headfirst into The Celestial Wager, a truly cosmic parable about gods, jesters, and, the very fate of existence. No big deal.
So let's set the stage for this divine drama. I want you to picture the highest heavens, the realm of Asgard. Everything here is built on an ancient, seemingly perfect order. But as we're about to see, even perfection can start to feel, well, a little stale. Now, to really get what's at stake here, we gotta meet the key players in this celestial court. Think of them as the pillars holding up a universe that is, frankly, about to be shaken to its very core. At the very center of it all, you've got Odin, the All-Father. He's the wise but clearly burdened ruler who sees everything, and I mean everything, across the 9 worlds from his throne. And yeah, that includes seeing the first tiny cracks starting to form in his perfect divine law. And right there beside him, you've got Thor and Freya. These two basically represent the core principles of the Old Guard. Thor is all about steadfast, divine strength and cosmic law, while Freya embodies radiant life, vitality, and beauty. They're the twin anchors of Asgard.
And then there's Brynhildr, watching from the edge. She's posted up on that famous rainbow bridge connecting the worlds. And this Valkyrie, she's got a feeling. She's the first one to sense that something fundamental is stirring, a real change in the air. And that change she's sensing, it's a shift in the zeitgeist. We're not talking about a minor little disturbance here. This is a deep cultural tremor. And it's all being kicked off by a lone jester, way down below, whose dance is literally challenging the heavens themselves. And right on cue, into this divine stillness steps an agent of total chaos. Who else could it be? It's Loki, the trickster. And he strolls in with this malicious grin and an offer that just reeks of shadows and fire. Now, Loki's argument here is absolutely fascinating. He's not just here to cause trouble for trouble's sake, he's getting philosophical. He claims the god's perfect world isn't a paradise at all. No, he says it's just a beautiful prison, a gilded cage that's actually stifling any real growth and potential. So he points down to the world of mortals and holds up this jester, this harlequin, as his prime example. He frames him not as some fool, but as a new kind of creator, an artist whose absurd laughter is like a poison that could rot the very roots of the god's power. And this super provocative idea leads him to propose a wager. But listen, this isn't some small-time bet. This is a gamble for the soul of existence itself, and the jester is the main playing piece on the board. So here's the bet. Loki wagers that what he calls the spirit of gravity, the crushing weight of conformity, despair, all that cynicism, will absolutely destroy the jester's spirit long before he can reach his ultimate potential. So what is this peak the jester's even trying to climb? It's the Overman. Think of it as a state of being beyond ordinary human limits, a creative force that actually forges its own meaning. And that, right there, is the ultimate prize in Loki's little game. As you can probably guess, this blasphemous challenge does not go over well. It splits the divine assembly right down the middle, and suddenly you can see this deep, fundamental conflict right at the heart of their world. And you can really see that divide right here. On one side, you've got Thor, who's pure animus, that masculine, rigid principle of order. He is furious. He sees the jester as a chaotic insult that needs to be smashed. But on the other side is Freya, who represents the anima, the feminine principle. She sees a necessary beauty in his chaotic dance, a kind of darkness you need for the light to even exist. And she warns everyone that to crush him would be to stifle life itself. Meanwhile, Brynhild, she's still silent, just a quiet observer, taking it all in. So the final decision falls to Odin. He's heard the rage from Thor, he's heard the wisdom from Freya, and now the entire fate of this wager rests on his shoulders. So this is the million-dollar question, right? What does the All-Father do? How does a god even respond when you're faced with an impossible choice between keeping a static, perfect order and allowing for messy, chaotic, unpredictable growth? And his response is just 4 words, but they are heavy with the weight of ages. It's not an answer born of anger, but of this profound, almost grim curiosity. It's the voice of world-weary wisdom that says, all right, let's see what happens. So Odin accepts the wager, but, and this is a big but,
he gives one critical condition. Loki can go and test the jester, sure, but he has to act as a true adversary. He has to be a trial that will either break the jester or forge him into something even stronger. He has to sharpen the blade, not just shatter it. Now, why would he do this? Well, he gets that this isn't just some game. He sees it as a necessary test within the great cosmic cycle of recurrence. This idea that everything that happens has happened before and will happen again. In Odin's eyes, even gods have to face these trials to avoid becoming stagnant and to earn their place in the next go-round. And with Odin's decree, that's it. The great celestial wager is on. All the pieces are immediately set in motion, and the stage is now set for a conflict that's going to ripple all the way from the heavens down to the earth. Loki, who is absolutely thrilled with how this all turned out, vanishes in a puff of violet smoke. He's on his way down to the mortal realm, just itching to find the forces of cynicism and gravity so he can weave this perfect celestial trap for the completely unsuspecting jester. And from their shimmering heights, the gods are no longer just rulers on a throne. Oh no, they've just become the audience to a cosmic drama, a divine gamble where the future of their own existence is suddenly on the line. But not everyone is content to just sit back and watch. The silent warrior, Brynhild, she finally makes her move. She leaps from the Bifrost, spear in hand, choosing to play her own part in all of this. She's not going down there as a spectator, she's going to test the jester's worth herself. And this is really the final brilliant point of the parable. The jester just keeps dancing, completely unaware that his every single move is now being judged by the very gods he was trying to outgrow. Which, of course, leaves us with a pretty provocative question. Are we, in our own lives, also dancing for an audience we can't even see?